going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Closing the Deal. I am your host, Sam Enright, and sitting across from me is my co-host, Zach Dickson. Zach, what is going on, man?
Not a whole lot. Cannot complain at all. Coming back from a little trip in Florida, it was definitely a bit of a change up for me. So I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. I think that's a normal human being feeling post trip, post vacation. It's just trying to get back into the swing of things. So definitely excited for our episode today and to talk about the trip a little bit as well. So
yeah, we kind of alluded to this on the previous Saturday Talks episode. We kind of said, hey, maybe we should just do I think the words used were golf sicko podcast. So for all you golf lovers out there that enjoy hearing about it, talking about it, this would be the perfect episode for you guys, because I'm not sure we have too much else on the docket other than to just kind of discuss the recent trip down here in Florida and some courses that we got to play and experiences that we got to have. And I will say, on the list of golf trips, this was probably top two, not two. So got to play some cool stuff and spend some time with good friends, and can't ask for much more than that.
Absolutely. And cool experiences, I think, as well. Something we'll touch on as we get into the episode. But yeah, I would agree with you. Top two, not two. That's pretty high praise for sure.
Well, our history is kind of limited, so what do we calculate, 5 or something like that now?
Yeah, I think we're at 4 or 5, one of the two.
4 or 5, yeah. So I mean, take that with a grain of salt. There's not a huge huge pool of selection here to base that off of, but off of the limited experiences that we do have, I would say this was, from a golf perspective, probably top one for sure.
We'll have to revisit here in 365 days, as we've discussed a little bit on the trip. We got some good shit planned here in 2026. So we'll see if in 365 days this one still is number one, or maybe move back a little bit. I have a feeling it might move back a little bit personally.
Hey, and that's all right. You want room for growth in life, right?
Absolutely.
You want to be able to, to experience some different things and be able to come back and say, you know what, that was great, but this was better. Well, I mean, with all that said, where do you want to start? Where do you want to kick us off at?
Well, it probably makes sense to get started with the first round of the trip, right? We first round.
Go ahead. Maybe we set the tone a little bit, set the mood. Where did you guys go? Where did you come into? Where do we have said golf trip at?
Yes. So this said golf trip happened in Southeast Florida. Flew into Fort Lauderdale, made the trip up to the West Palm, Jupiter, Stuart kind of area there, and stayed in Jupiter and played a lot of golf, really, just in that West Palm area as a whole. So that first round, got pretty much right off the plane immediately. Got to the rental car, made the hour drive north from Fort Lauderdale up to West Palm. And sometimes when you get off the plane, you're feeling a little stiff and can't move very well, and that, unfortunately, or I guess I should say fortunately, was kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Diminished slightly by the course that we chose to play that first round off the plane, being a par 3 course, the West Palm Beach par 3, which is located right on the Atlantic Ocean, in between the Atlantic Ocean and the Intercoastal there in West Palm. It was a pretty cool little track, if I do say so myself. It gave us, obviously it's a par 3 course, so 18 par 3s, par 54. Didn't really even need to. I left the driver, left the 3-wood, left the hybrid in the car. Didn't even need to put them in the bag. So it gave a lot of different holes, from like 86 yards to, I think, all the way up to like something 195 or 200, something like that. So it gave a lot of different shots, honestly, for us to get the trip started. And I'm definitely glad that I didn't have to hit driver or anything like that coming right off the plane, because I think that would have been very, very, very tough for me. And who knows what the score could have been. So to have controlled iron shots, controlled wedges right off the rip, right off the plane. That was a good thing for me for sure. But yeah, I mean, it was just typical Florida golf, in my opinion. The wind coming off the coast is howling on us. We probably had, consistently 15 mile per hour winds up to 20, 25 mile per hour gusts. So it made it tough, and it was really just all side wind too. I don't think we had really any holes that were downwind, and I think we definitely had some that were into for sure, but not really too many holes that were downwind. So having to contend with wind going this way, wind going that way, and kind of just going with our actual shot shapes as well. So it was a pretty good little start to the trip, in my opinion. I enjoyed the course a lot. I know that our biggest gripe was probably the green speeds, and the conversation that we had likely was due to a lot of beginners probably play this course, even though it is a very nice location, very nice course, and highly ranked par three course in the world. I think a lot of beginners get their start there and go out and play, and so if they run these green speeds at like a 10, 11, 12, people that are just getting started, especially with some of those slopes out there, they're not really going to be, advantageous for coming back. So I would say that that's probably why they kept him down a little bit, kept him hairy. And yeah, all in all, though, it was a great little round to start the trip for sure.
Yeah. It's been highly recommended. When we came down in 2022 to this area to play, it was one of the ones on the list that we wanted to get to. It just did not happen, and we could not make it work. So this time around, we're like, you know what, be a perfect round. Don't want to let a beautiful Saturday go to waste. We could be playing some golf. So we got out there, and it's definitely cool. Like from one side of the course, like the strip of land is so small that you can actually, from one side on the intercoastal, see the complete other side of the ocean. It's probably, I don't know, 300 yards wide, maybe something like
With
that.
a little,
It's yeah,
A1 or 1A. What's that highway called? US 1?
yeah. US 1. And so it's just it's crazy how small it really was. And yeah, a lot of the holes run parallel to the road, so you're getting a lot of those crosswinds. I think we had one hole that was downwind that went back towards the intercoastal, and we had a couple that went towards the ocean, so just a couple that we played back into the wind. But I enjoyed it. It had some beautiful scenery, especially on the back nine. So the front nine is on the intercoastal side, so you're going to get a little bit more of seeing the houses across the way and all of that. On the other side, you got just the open ocean. And so once you kind of get up onto, what was it, like 13, I think 13, 14, 15. Well, 15 goes a little bit down, but 18 and 17 are kind of up on the where you can actually see the ocean and have the beach right there. And so it was a really cool backdrop. I mean, I really enjoyed the scenery. As you said, I mean, I didn't play well at all. Obviously, there was no rust in your game. I mean, you came off the plane firing on all cylinders. So, so it was it was a good time. I thought it was a great way to start the trip. And we had some lunch there at the clubhouse afterwards. They had a nice little area for, or maybe we should call it dinner, because it was about like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I don't know I think we might have been past the requirements for lunch, but it was cool. We sat outside and had a view of the ocean as well, and some guys coming in playing some holes and whatnot. But all in all, we walked. That was nice. Grabbed a couple of push carts and just kind of got our way around. Felt like maybe driving a cart on a 2,500 yard course was just a little overkill, maybe not necessary. Get some steps in, get a little bit of exercise. So it was nice. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. And I think one thing I'd be remiss to not mention is the fact that, we flew out at like 7 a.m. out of Columbus, got into Fort Lauderdale around 10. And by 1 o'clock in Columbus, right around the moment that we were teeing off, that snowstorm hit, brought 6 inches of snow to the central Ohio area. So I'm walking the golf course. I pulled up the Ring camera on the front of my house, and I'm looking outside and seeing the snow come down. I look over and see the ocean. It's just it was a very advantageous time to schedule a tee time, schedule a trip. Usually that doesn't work out like that. Usually you're stuck in the snowstorm, not able to get out, but we were able to just get out in the nick of time and get on the golf course as that snow started falling at home. So definitely a good vibe and a great start to the trip for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Can't beat that, getting away from that snow and walking around in some shorts and a t-shirt, and sun was shining for basically the whole front nine, and then a little bit of overcast came in on that backside, but still warm, a little bit of wind, which, as you guys will find out as we continue along this journey, was a prevailing theme of this trip, was wind. So we chose a lot of course. Well, the one course is way off. I guess they all kind of are, except for the other, which is weird because that was the one that didn't that one had the least amount of wind, and that one was that one was located on the intercoastal as well. But yeah, a couple of windy days coming up. So yeah, that's Saturday. We kind of hung out and went from there, and then we booked a tee time for Sunday. We decided to go to North Palm Beach Country Club. So this is just it's Palm Beach, but it's like literally just south of Palm Beach Gardens. So this was a course that we played in 2022, and I think when we played it in 2022, we had about 25 mile an hour winds coming off the intercoastal, and it chewed us up and spit us back out. So there was a resounding feeling between the both of us that, hey, we really probably need to get back out here and experience this course again and try to make right on what went wrong the first time. So that was a that was a good course. We got paired up with a random who ended up being pretty cool, and
Tom.
Tom, guy was
a stick.
Guy was quietly a stick. Yeah. So my brother rode with him, and so we got to the end, and he's like, yeah, he shot 77. I was like, wow, that was like the quietest 77 of all. Like, I really wasn't like necessarily paying attention too deeply, and so just kind of seeing all of it, going back and reflecting on it afterwards, I was like, dang, you know what? Like, I really don't think that cat missed too many shots on the course that day. Like, he had probably, I know that par 3 on the front with the water, I know he didn't hit a great one there. And I think he lost a drive on maybe another hole. But other than that, man, it was fairways, greens,
2 putts, get out.
Yeah, it was methodical. It really made me feel like, wow, why don't I play golf like this? Because my experience was definitely my experience was definitely different. So kind of get into that. I have some loud traits, and then I have some other very loud bad traits as well. So usually if it's if I'm off, I'm off, and if I'm on. So
and he hit the first shot of the day, that little wedge shot into one. He stuck it to like 6 feet or something silly like that, and he looked over, was like, that'll be the best shot I hit all day. And it was by far not the best shot he hit all day. He hit some really good ones. That 50-yard bunker shot for an eagle on 12 was silly. You just disappeared on me.
Yeah, it was that was we gotta set the tone though here, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because there were some things. Yeah, there were some things that happened before that let's talk about. Let's maybe divulge on your first 7 holes and really hole 1, like how everything got kicked off there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the hole 1 is just indicative of golf that I've learned how to play, like a game that I've learned how to play over the last few years. Because I drove the ball. My driver off the first tee was pounded. I thought I was going to have 100 yards in. I thought I carried this bunker with ease, and I was just going to have a great angle into the hole, 100 yards, little flip wedge. I get down there, and it literally was 1 yard from carrying the bunker. I mean, legitimately 1 yard. Like, if it would have just went 1 more yard, it would have hit the slope and carried and kicked down the hill, and would have had that 100-yard shot in. But instead, it literally didn't even come back into the bunker. It sat up on the lip right next to the bunker. So literally all I could do from a fairway bunker 130 yards out was just chop it out and get myself back into play. I had no shot other than that. So unfortunately, instead of hitting 2 with 100 yards out, I am now hitting 3 with 100 yards out. And unfortunately, my golf game, that would usually derail me right there immediately. Like, it would be done. We're we're shooting a bad score today. But I went in with a conscious effort to all of these rounds, really, to not let those things happen, because they usually do happen to me, not necessarily in town, but when I do take trips and play out of town golf, usually that's when those things happen. So I hit a really bad third shot into the bunker. It was like the green side of bunker above the hole, and I don't even think it got all the way into the bunker, but it was just on the edge, and so I'm hitting 4 off of the green, and I see the vision. We have a little, bowl pin. Just have to hit the hill there and let it trickle down, and just watch it fall into the hole, and that's exactly what I did. Right, I hit the perfect shot, went down the slope. I hear Tom over there, get in the hole, get in the hole. Oh, it went in the hole. So made a 4. Didn't even have to bring the putter out to start on 1. And honestly, that really just got me going. It got the juices flowing, and propelled me through the next 7 holes. Like you mentioned, I was even through 7, playing really, really good golf. I made 7 pars in a row, and I think, unfortunately, all good things sometimes have to come to an end, as we'll get into a little bit later.
Oh man.
Is there anything that you noticed throughout those first 7 holes that I'm curious? I was just intrigued, honestly.
Of your game?
Yeah.
I just, I mean, the ability, like when you say golf game, I think that's not overly indicative of what really goes on. I mean, I think ultimately when I watch you play, I think you have a really great swing. Like if I were to, we've done this before. We've gone to TrackMans and we've compared swings. Like if we're looking at swings purely, like you have the better swing, you have the better positions, you get into the better areas. But I would say that obviously mental would be one of those things that hold you back, just like that. Just saying like, oh yeah, didn't carry the bunker. We're in the lip. We got to punch out. And right there, normally I would just be like, okay, this is going to be a bad round. Like, you know what I mean? Like just that sort of thing. Like that's hard to, it's hard to overcome with golf when you are in a negative mindset about what the possibilities are. So if you're already writing it off and saying, hey, this is going to be a bad day, I just don't have the stuff today. You hear, obviously we're not tour pros, but you hear the tour pros. I remember hearing Tiger like, yeah, sometimes I just don't have it, but I'm going to go out there and grind it out the best that I can. And so, I would say the first 7 holes, I don't, other than one, trying to think, I don't really believe that there was ever really a time where something was in danger. So I feel like it was pretty cruisy, like just hit fairways, hit greens, give yourself a chance for a birdie, make putts.
I hit a bad shot on that par 3 5th. I didn't hit the green there.
Yeah.
I got up and down, which was a really good up and down. And that just, propelled me a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, there obviously, and then 1 coming up with that, those are obviously big time for the morale, give you a little boost. And then, going into obviously, the rest of it, I don't know. I don't see a breakdown of golf necessarily, of the golf swing. I just see, ultimately just either decisions or, whatever it is that kind of start getting in the way a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it was great to watch. I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, we were playing a little comp, so obviously, a little part of me is, like, gosh, because I mean, by the time we teed off on 8, I believe, well, let's get past 8. I can't remember. What'd you end up having on 8?
Double.
Okay. That was the one with the water, right?
Yeah, I hit a perfect shot. Just made the wrong decision. Like you mentioned, I just took too less of club and hit the ball into the water, unfortunately. Hit a good shot, but.
Oh, yeah, it was on a frozen rope right down the line, just a little aggressive of a line for club that was chosen. But I mean, sitting there, I mean, we're both through 8, you're 2 over and I was 8 over through 8. So like my first 8 holes were not great whatsoever. I mean, I think I made on that par 3, I made triple, hit it in the water, duff the chip from the drop zone, and it just 3-putted or something, you know what I mean? Just one of them ones. And I think I had a double in there somewhere as well. It really just did not feel that great. Ball striking was kind of sporadic and the complete opposite of what it was that you were doing, basically.
And then something just flipped on that 9th tee. Tell me about that. Tell me about how that
went. Something definitely, I'm trying to think. I don't know, other than the par 5, I don't think I hit driver at all. on any of the other holes at that point. So driver on 3.
Yeah, par
Yeah,
5.
4. Yeah, par 5. Got a little away from me. I have a tendency to hit a big slice from time to time. Well, okay, maybe not from time more often than not, but and 9, I just kind of stepped up there and just kind of had a conversation with myself of I have been very bad here recently about getting in too much in my head about thinking about my swing over the ball, thinking about what positions I want to be in, this, that, or the other. And our caddy actually we'll get to that, but on Tuesday had talked about a book that he had read, and I had read that book twice this summer, and it was the best golf that I was playing at the time. And it was simply because of this book that talks about separating your think box and your play box and not thinking about anything over the ball other than what you want that ball to do. And so 9 just kind of flipped the switch. And I was like, you know what? I'm tired of doing this, I'm tired of being in my head. So I just kind of ripped driver down there. I mean, the thing ended up going like 300 yards plus. I think I had like 67 yards left into the green. And kind of on our conversation from Tuesday when we were driving back to the house, like anytime I get like 100 to 50 yards, like, and I get that 58 degree in my hand, like I'm feeling pretty good. And so literally had that. And I think I put it to like 5 feet, drained the putt for birdie. And it was kind of like, okay, we're off now. So, so
8 over through 8, 7 over through 9. Can't beat that at all.
7 over through 9, yeah. And then things started to turn pretty wild there for a little bit on the back, and so
very weird.
We teed off, we made the turn, and same situation as you, right? On 1, I fleeced this hybrid. Thought I had more than enough to get over the bunker. Did not. Caught just the lip. Rolled back in, and if any of you know, fairway bunkers, not really a strong suit of mine, although I may be singing a different tune now about that. But yeah, it was, I was like, oh God, here we go. Come off birdie. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen here. So my one and only goal was get this ball on the green. So kind of hit like this scully little like fade that ended up catching a back part of the green. I was probably 50 feet away or so, and lagged it up there and made the par. And I was like, okay, all right, we can live with that. And then 11, cool hole, like just huge bunkering system down the right, little bunkers splattered all over the place left. And then you got a couple of bunkers up by the green, and it was a perfect number for all of us. I think we had it was a little bit downwind, if I remember correctly. And I mean, I think it was like 320 to get to the green. And so, Tom, as we walked up, he's like, you could probably get there with the perfect shot. I'm like, that's the key word, perfect shot. And then of course stood up, and driver just absolutely ripped this thing, literally landed pin high and rolled to the back of the green. Was a little bit on the fringe, ended up lagging that up there, 2-putting, getting on the roll with another birdie. This was the same hole that our friend Tom was 50 yards in the bunker. So we all went for the green. Zach went a little right. And Tom was, in the bunker, and he ended up pulling out from like 60 yards. Luckily, me and my brother, we had already played our shot, so we were up on the green. Zach's like over to the right. He can't really see. And so me and my brother Wes, we're just literally sitting up here, and we just watched this ball literally hit the top of the crest of the very front part of this green, and then it just kind of slopes down like this towards the hole. And this ball took the perfect path, like literally just stopped enough on that first initial bounce to just get a nice smooth roll in, and this thing just trundled all the way down to the hole. And so hold out for eagle from a bunker from 60 yards, which is no easy shot. And he's like, you guys got to be kidding me, you're lying. I'm like, no bro, like this thing is in the hole. So that was really cool. And yeah, it was a great hole. I think we all played it, 2 under between the group, which is pretty solid.
Yeah, it is. I think that's my favorite hole out there, to be honest with you. That is truly a Jack Nicklaus hole if I've ever seen one. Like just large bunkers everywhere, a short par 4 that requires just a slight draw. Like that is truly Jack Nicklaus to a T, and probably my favorite hole out there. I enjoy that one a lot.
Yeah, it was a good hole. Good hole for sure. I remember that one, and definitely was a lot of fun. So you can't beat it when you're driving the green and making 2-putt birdies. So was feeling pretty good at this point. I'm like, okay, 2 under through my last 3. And then it was just like, okay, let's just kind of put, pedal to the metal here. So, I have a tendency in the past when things start going well to then go back to overthinking, as if, you've heard the expression gripping the steering wheel too hard. Well, that would be how I would describe myself in those situations. When things start going well, I don't want them to stop. And so like instead of just like letting it flow, I like try to control it. So I was like, let's just stay out of our way. So next hole, hit another drive. It did go right. I got lucky. It was literally past so all their like areas there are like seashells, like ground up seashells, instead of like, I don't even know, like when you're up in like the little native areas, like how it would normally be pine straw, well, theirs is like seashells. And so my ball was just sitting on the rough a little bit. My foot was in the native area, end up hitting a 50-degree there, putting that thing to like, I don't know, 12 feet, 14 feet, got up to the green. I was like, yeah, this one's going in too. Literally drained that putt. So, now we're on 2 birdies in a row. Got a par 5 coming up. Tom was gassing me up. He's like, man, that was one of those 3 woods. We had this crosswind. It was coming out of the left, and the whole straightaway coming out of the left. And I have the ability to turn over a 3 wood if I really, really need to. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try to turn this over a little bit because there was water up there. Driver with my fade could have brought that into play if I go too long, especially with the left wind. Like if it catches it and rides it, like we could be looking at water balls. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try. I'm not going to try. I'm going to hold this little draw 3 wood up against the wind. And that's exactly what I did. Put it out there like 280, 290. And it was just perfect. Tom's like, that's a real professional shot right there. And I'm like, please don't gas me up like that. And then I could start feeling the gripping of the steering wheel in the second shot, because you have water that kind of runs down the right. The green kind of runs, diagonally to you. And so I'm like, there's a bunker in the front. And I'm like, again, I have this tendency to go right. And I was like, you know what? I do not want to bring water into play. And so I hit my iron. And it was like the anti-left swing. It was just like a pull straight ball just to the left. End up catching a piece of the green. I probably had like 70 yards out or 70 feet out. I literally brought wedges onto the green because I wasn't sure, because there was the way I was going to have to go. I thought I might have to chip it because of how, severely undulated this thing becomes. But luckily I had a little bit of a play and lied my putt up there and drained the putt again. And so, I was on 3 birdies in a row. I was riding high, and that was a PR for me. So I'd never made 3 birdies in a row. I think best I ever did was like 5 birdies on the back 9, but I think I had made 2 in a row, and the others were kind of spread out. And yeah, so 8 over through 8, and now I'm sitting 4 over through, 4 over through what, 14 or 13. So I was feeling good, and fleeced the next 3 wood down the next hole, and put a wedge in there to probably 10 feet. And I was like, you know what? All right, let's just go do it again. And unfortunately that one missed. And so, the birdie streak came to an end, and there were no more birdies on the round. I actually made like 2 bogeys coming in. So I shot like 6 over, but it was a good round. And when you're 8 over through 8, you're not thinking, okay, I'm going to go, birdie 4 holes on the back 9, and we're going to or birdie 4 holes, and we're going to get this back to a respectable score.
Absolutely. But I commend you for doing that, because, ultimately at that point, when you're 8 over through 8 as a golfer, you can make 2 choices. You can choose what you did and keep fighting and whatnot, or you can pack it in and shoot 95, so ultimately that's a choice that you have to make as a golfer when you're in that situation. But yeah, I think, is it too far to venture to say that was probably our best golf we played on the trip that round?
No, I would say that is wholeheartedly the best golf that we play. I mean, just as a whole, like, I thought you played pretty well the par 3 course. I mean, obviously there was some squirreliness coming down the stretch a little bit. We got this dead into wind on 17, and it was just, oh man, it was a brute. And it was one of the longer holes. I mean, it was 177 or something like that, back up into the wind. Yeah, it was a mess. or it may have even be, I think it was like 146 actually, but I hit 7-iron
I did
and I
too.
was still short of the pin.
Yeah.
Up the hill, back into the wind. Yeah, it was like 150 yards. But I felt like you played pretty well there. Ball striking was good, and I think you were good there. But yes, I would say that first, I mean, score wise, that's definitely the best golf
Yeah.
that we played. And I mean, I would say probably the best golf we played in general. The next 2 rounds, things are going to start getting a little weird, a little squirrely.
I think though, just a general theme of the trip, unfortunately for me, was I played a lot better than my scores indicated. I shot 81 at North Palm, and I think that it probably should have been around 78 or so, 77. Just going off of a couple of dumb mistakes, like that double on 8 should not have made double. I ended up making par with the second drive, and so if I would have just been safe with the first drive and chose the correct club, would have made par on 8. Number 9 made double because I hit a palm tree that was 30 yards in front of the tee box, and so just give myself a bogey there, and that just gives me back to 78 instead of the 81, and where I felt like I should have been, I think. And that's a common theme I think over the next 2 rounds as well. Played a little bit better than than the score indicated.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely, you bring up the palm tree, and anybody that comes to Florida to play golf, I mean, I've been down here a little bit of time now and played, like, it's, there's always this expression when you're up in Ohio, or maybe it's everywhere, but they always say, oh yeah, trees are made of 90% air. And so like when you fly through trees in Ohio, it's much different because obviously the trees are different, right? They got palms down here. They got these really gorse bushes and stuff. And so like I've had a couple of tee shots like actually saved by this stuff. Whereas normally in Ohio, you feel like that it would just fly through, you know what I'm saying? Unless you catch like a lucky branch and it kicks. But like here, because the trees have such density to them, like I've had balls literally go into the tree and then just drop straight down. But like if you're going straight and you're trying to go through it, like that ball, I've not seen one go through a palm tree at all. Like that, it just eats it up. So like
Went
it's
straight
literally
down.
gonna plop. Yeah, it's gonna plop straight down. So that's a
And it
little
was
bit.
fleeced too. That's the worst part. It was absolutely fleeced immediately right into the palm tree, and but that's how it goes. That's how it
Yeah.
goes. So
That is yeah, that's golf for you. So, but that was the most benign conditions that we had. It was really warm. I mean, it was not supposed to, the sun really was not supposed to come out. I think the sun came out for the entire, like once we got to like 2 or 3, the sun was out the entire time for the whole round, and it was warm. I mean, it was high 70s, maybe even low 80s, and it was just beautiful weather, and we did not have a whole bunch of wind. I mean, obviously you're out there on the intercoastal, so there's going to be some breeze, but it was not anything like what these next 2 days that we played in were like.
for sure, I'll get us started on the next one. That on Monday morning, after we got finished up with the North Palm, and I would be remiss to say as well, the one of the best parts about Sunday was getting to see your brother as well. I haven't gotten to see Wes in almost like 18 months, I think, August of 2024. So getting to play around a golf with him, getting to go to breakfast, getting dinner with him, and Jacqueline was an awesome experience, and I really appreciate that for sure too. So
Yeah, it was great vibes. It was great vibes. We had a great breakfast spot, great dinner spot. I mean, that could be a whole nother episode, the food that we experienced.
Absolutely.
The food that we experienced while we were down, because we took some recommendations from some guys that work in our office down here, and have used to live in that area, so they kind of let us in on some good spots to check out. So
it did not let us down.
no.
But getting back into the golf on Monday morning, went up to the Florida Club in Stuart, which is a nice little track. We actually played this one in 2022 as well, and I can't remember what Sam shot in 2022, but I don't think I broke 100, maybe 99. And it just ate me up. Unfortunately, it's not really your typical Florida golf course. I don't think it's more your Parkland style tree lined fairways, not really wide open, kind of how you experience Florida golf as a whole. But It's a tough track. It really is. I enjoy it. I really do enjoy the layout. But it's got my number. It's simple as that. It's got my number. It started when I hit the fairway on one, hit the green in regulation, putted off the green, putted back up onto the green, and then the second putt I made bogey. So I had the old green in regulation, fairway in regulation, 2-putt bogey. So you don't usually see that one too often, and that one pretty much set the tone for the day. Unfortunately, not much else is really sticking with me, other than I also did the palm tree trick once again. There's a palm tree legitimately 25 yards in front of the tee box. This is my only gripe, I think, at the entire trip, is these superintendents need to take these palm trees out from right in front of the tee box. Like, bro, you're cutting off half of the window to hit my tee shot. Please, I can't hit a fade with my driver.
It's asking a specific question out of you.
I can't do it.
It's asking a question, brother. You gotta figure out how to answer it. It's asking something very specifically.
Yeah, but
I mean, I think in all reality, like, you and I differ on this, because if you had it your way, I think every golf course would cut down every tree that's on their entire property.
Well, not every single one, but we can.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Down.
Like, yeah, anything that is potentially in play and not just there for like aesthetic purposes, like, get it gone, basically. And I just am like, I don't know. I just think when I look at that hole, like, you had a little palm tree right here, and you had a bigger tree down the fairway, probably like 250 out, 260 out. And like, I just feel like when I step up there, yes, as a fader of a golf ball, you know, it piqued my eye, and I'm like, you know what, I can literally just hit a big power fade right off this tree and I'm going to be fine. That's exactly what I did. But again, like, you don't, I think out of a golf course, you want it to ask specific questions out of you, right? Can you step up and do this said thing, instead of just being this golf course where you can just have your way and hit whatever shot you want anytime? Like, there's holes out there that do favor a draw, that do favor cutting this corner or doing this. And so when I step up and see that, I have to, you know, choose a different route or choose a different club. And yeah, I don't know. I just think that, you know, you need some holes out there that are not just blow it wherever you want and go find it and then go on from there. I think you need specific questions asked at certain points.
I agree. So yeah, I mean, I think that I again, it goes back to the message of I played significantly better than my score indicated. I'm not sure I even remember what I shot. Do you have a number for me?
You want me to say it?
Yeah, might as well. Yeah,
it was 98.
Okay, so I'm almost positive, if I just am doing it off the top of my head, I probably made 8 or 9 pars, 7 or 8 pars, probably 2 or 3 bogeys. And then the rest of them were double bogey plus. So like, I made like 7 double bogey plus. I think I had 4 snowmans. And it's just like, if you were going to just cut that in half and make bogeys instead of snowmans, or double bogeys instead of snowmans, like, cut those 4 into 2, like, that's where you are scoring. Like, that's where your score implodes, unfortunately. And I think I've realized that watching like tour guys, we damn near make as many birdies as the tour guys. Not as many, but close to it. It's probably 2 or 3 less around, but we make substantially more double bogey pluses. And I think that that's what I took away from the round, is I did not play that bad, except for on these, you know, 4 holes where I made a fucking snowman. And so it's like, just reel it in on these specific holes and you're right back to where you were shooting 85 or low 80s. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't play 98 bad, simply put. So,
well, we also kicked this segment off, or we also kicked this talking about Florida Club off without mentioning the external factors that were going into account. Like, this was by far the windiest day that we played golf. It was a consistent 20-25 mile an hour winds, and the gusts were up to like 35 mile an hour. And so, you know, when you're playing a golf course, like you said, that's tree lined, that's tight, there is water on probably at least 6 or 7 of the holes, there's, I mean, 2 of the par fives, literally one of them has water running all the way down the left with a massive dog leg. And the other one is a straightaway, but has water running all the way down the left. And there's even a little part that kind of kicks in your landing zone of the fairway, cuts some of the fairway off and then starts going back up straight. And so, there's definitely it was tough conditions when you think about it like that. Like, we had huge winds. I don't know that we played a whole bunch downwind. We played probably a few into the wind and then just a lot of crosswinds. And so if you don't have specific shots in your bag, if you're facing a 25 mile an hour left to right wind and I hit a big fade, like that is a problem, because
especially with water on the left side. Like, you can't convince yourself to aim over the water and play it back over. Like, it's just hard to convince yourself in your mind to commit to that shot.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. I mean, just to say the least. I mean, I shot 85, and the conditions were definitely not conducive to scoring well for where our level of golf is at. But I will speak to what you just said. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the stats before, like a scratch golfer versus a 15 handicap, how many extra birdies they make per round. It's like, I think a scratch golfer might make 0.7 to 1 extra birdie a round than what a 15 handicap is going to. But when you start looking at the numbers, like we're not going to like light the world on fire with birdies. Like, I looked at my gin recap, and like the amount of birdies I made in my rounds is substantially less than like, even like I think as many birdies as I have doubles or greater. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, getting those numbers down is going to improve the scores more than being like I can't, if you want to get better at golf, I can't look at those numbers and say, all right, my assessment of this is I need to make more birdies. That's what will solve this. It's really just like, okay, hey, look, like we've made like 40 something doubles or more this year. Like, we got to cut that down in like a quarter, like 3/4. Like, if we could get to 10 of those, bogeys are not gonna, because you can make birdies, bogeys aren't necessarily going to derail you. But when you start, going 2 up or 3 up or 4 up on one hole, like you're you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna chip away quick.
Absolutely.
At what a potential score is.
Absolutely. And
so,
yeah, and it just adds up so quickly. Yeah. And if you snowball that too, like, it just ends up being a big old thing. And I think, unfortunately, I let it snowball a little bit on that back nine at the Florida Club. But still a very enjoyable round. And some would say it was cold, 65 degrees and windy.
I mean, I took my sweatshirt off on hole 2, and it was in a polo and shorts for the rest of the round. I didn't think it was that bad, but I could understand also, like, Cameron had gone with us and she was just sitting the whole time. So like, it's different, when you're walking around, you're hitting golf shots doing that versus sitting in the cart. Yeah.
And finishing up the discussion on the Florida Club, would be remiss if we didn't mention our boy Dale. He could play a little bit of golf. Another random that we got paired up with. A retiree from Jersey who just got down there 2 months prior to, and big Eagles fan, and was talking about how he was making fun of his friends and who was stuck in the snowstorm up in Jersey, and he's down in Florida playing golf. And so I could feel that one for sure. I felt that one just resonate in my heart too. So.
Hey, we would also be remiss to not mention that you almost ended Dale's life on hole 18.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yep. So this also goes back, actually.
Oh, the look on your face when you hit that shot. Oh, it was done right then and there. I'm walking off the course. I am done. Oh my God.
This just goes back to decision making, honestly. Like, the fact that number 18 was a long hole. We were playing back into the wind. I think I had something like 220 in for my second shot. I ended up like probably 30 yards short. So had a nice little pitch shot in, and I got up.
I completely forgot what led to this. Oh my gosh, thank you for telling this.
Yeah. So I got up to my ball. I'm looking at it. I'm like, there's nothing to lose. Let's just try something new here. Normally I would take the 58 degree and just hit a nice little like bump and run into the hill and play it safe and be all good. But I decided to pull the 7-iron out and just do the old man little bump and run chip shot up the hill, and I absolutely hammered it past the green, and it just went into the back bunker. So ultimately, I should have never been back there into that bunker. I should have never had the opportunity to kill Dale. That was actually the second bunker shot that I hit. The first one did not get up, fell right back into the bunker, gave me another shot, and then the second one, I absolutely scolded it over the green right at my boy Dale, and he had to do one of those.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was like perfect head height.
Yeah.
It was like literally.
Dale was pissed. I already know he was.
ZD was flabbergasted. Let's just call it what it is. That boy was ready to go.
That was one of my snowmans, if you guys were curious.
And snowmans. It was so funny too, because I'm driving up and I'm just watching Zach, and I'm like, I'd seen him do it like once I think throughout the round, and I'm like, I have never seen this man ever pull out like a 9-iron, 8-iron, 7-iron, anything to do any sort of bump and run ever. Like, I've just never seen it. And then so I'm just like scratching my head sitting here, and I'm like, why now? Like, what is the draw to doing this? Like, when it's not really necessarily called for. Like, it was wide open. There's a little bunker at the front of the green, but like, you could have just played out and just hit the 58. But I think it all, like you said, ties back to, the tight lies down here, they're able to cut it a lot shorter. And so, yes, for most people, that's going to make that when you get over the ball and the ball's like sitting on like this thin of turf, and you're like, oh, I don't know about that. But I was just like sitting here, I'm like, this man's never practiced this shot, never done it, and he's just pulling it out, and then literally just hits the green, just trundles into the bunker. And I'm just like, oh man. Yeah, and then the bunker shot, I was just like, I didn't get the sense that Dale was pissed, but I mean, you obviously got the sense that he was pissed. I mean, he seemed fine. He shook my hand afterwards. He's like, he shook your hand. He had a conversation with us. And yeah, I mean, it was about 3 feet away from absolutely cracking him in the skull, but it all worked out.
You live and you learn. But yeah, that was, I mean, ultimately I had nothing to lose at that point, and really just was trying to put a new shot into my bag, and unfortunately did not succeed with that one. Did not succeed at all. So
notes for you kids at home. Don't try putting new shots in the bag mid-round. Probably go to the range or something or beforehand to try those things. Well, yeah, let's take this into the final leg. Obviously played the Florida Club. We both got beat up pretty bad. But we got home, we relaxed, and we went on into Tuesday with feeling pretty high. I mean, I would say I felt pretty high. We listened to a little EDM on the way to the golf course. I was vibing. It was like 6:50 in the morning. I'm just in there like just bouncing around, jumping, and so I was ready to go. But when we had planned this trip, Zach had mentioned the Park, which is a newer course. I think it's been open for 3 years now down in West Palm. Really, really cool track. It was built by Gil Hance, and so we were like, got to check it out. The No Laying Up guys that we listened to, they had been there previous couple weeks prior to, and so they had posted about it and whatnot, and so that was kind of the final straw to be like, yeah, this is where we got to go play. And so we booked the tee time. What's really cool out there is that, I guess depending on how you look at it, before a certain time you have to take a caddy, and so we're like, oh, that's going to be sick. Like, let's take a caddy, carry the clubs, give us the lay of the land. Obviously, we've never seen this golf course. And so we got there early, did a little bit of a range session, chipped, putted, got all prepped, and we teed off at 8. And our boy Trout was our caddy. Super, super cool dude. Been to caddied at lots of awesome golf courses, was just kind of telling us stories about that. He was at Whistling Straits, Stream Song, Erin Hills, Sand Valley. I think what was that, a Dark Horse or something, or I can't remember.
I can't remember that
something one. Yeah, I don't know, some other one that was down in the Bahamas or somewhere down south. And then I think he caddied somewhere in Miami as well. So kind of been all over the map, kind of seen it all. And so he'd been at the Park for 3 years, and yeah, we set off, and I think we both had some pretty high hopes for that day as well. Again, the Park is your perfect Zach Dickson golf course. There is not really any trees in play other than like on the holes that like line the roads. Like of the that line the property, basically, that, obviously it's not just wide open road on the right side, so they do have some brush and whatnot, but the whole center of the course is relatively bare. There are some trees, but they're not really in play. You got wide fairways, big bunkers, massive greens, massive undulations, huge false fronts. Like it was a lot to handle, to be honest with you. So, but it was such a sick experience, like just walking 18 holes, getting to see the whole lay of the land, having the caddy there, give us numbers, tell us what things are playing, how he would, here's what I would do, like, you're going to want this, here's your number, um and whatnot. And so that was I think why I would say that the trip was top tier right there. That alone, kind of carried the trip. So the golf was, again, probably left a lot to be desired out of it. I think I think I got the best score I could have out of the way that I struck the ball personally. But yeah, where do you want to go with the park? You want to dive into any of the holes? You want to dive into any of the experiences out there?
Um, I think I would just like to reiterate that this place is a genuine playground for golfers. Like, it is a true just golfer paradise. You could go to this property and at sun up, you could show up at the moment the sun rises and stay the entire day until the sun sets, even past the sun setting, because the par three course is lit. So you could
Yeah,
legitimately be there for all day long and not even realize it. Like, you could play 18 holes on the park, you go over the range that has top tracer, and dial in your numbers. You can go to the putting course, the 18-hole putting course that has huge undulations on the green. It's kind of reminding me of Thistledew at Pinehurst. Got the little drink holders at each tee box. And then obviously you have the short par three course that is lit, 9 holes. And again, you could spend an entire day, 2 days, 3 day trip on this property and never leave. Like, if
yeah,
you are a true golf sicko, that is most definitely what you could do. And so I 100% already want to get back there, just from the one
yeah,
experience that we had. But yeah, I think that, the caddy experience was awesome. That was the first time I've ever had that. And it actually goes back to a conversation that we had post Florida Club about my golf game in general. Is, I think it's one big thing that I struggle with, especially when it gets really windy, is like indecision and making a confident choice on what type of shot that I'm hitting and really committing to that. And I think that the caddy really, really, really helped on that aspect. In my opinion, I just, every time he gave me an option or he told me what to do, I didn't think twice about it. I just went ahead and did it. And, probably 85% of the time he was correct on that. And, the other 15% I lived with, because I either A, didn't hit the shot, or B, he was wrong. Obviously, he's not going to be right 100% of the time. But, that just helped me make decisions and commit to those decisions a little bit easier. And I can see why the draw of having these guys on your bag, during these high pressure moments, high pressure tournaments, it will make all the difference for somebody, like me, who maybe struggles with the indecision aspect of golf, and committing to a shot, and sticking with that. So that was my biggest takeaway. I rocked with my boy Trout. He was a fun guy to be around. And
mm-hmm,
he was telling us stories about meeting DJ Khaled, showed the video of DJ Khaled swinging, playing behind Tiger, or behind Charlie Woods, and just all the different types of cats he's met, millionaires, billionaires. And it's just pretty cool little experience to walk with him for 18 holes, see the lay of the land through his eyes, and also see some different areas of the golf course that I don't think we would have seen if we were on, a cart, that you don't really pay
yeah.
attention to tee to green. Like, it's just, you can kind of take in the whole lay of the land and take deep breaths and get I don't know. It was just a very true golf experience, in my opinion. And I genuinely enjoyed it. We're well worth every penny that we spent on it, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. It was, I mean, great course. I mean, great layout. Thought there was a mix of challenging holes. I felt like there was a mix of gettable holes. There was, some uniqueness out there. There was some large bunkers, and they had a couple of short par fours that were gettable. And so, I mean, my largest takeaway that I had was just from my own game personally was I actually really learned how to hit some bunker shots in this round. I did not avoid them very well. And so I had a couple of moments where I actually hit some pretty good ones, even from fairway bunkers. So, that was a big dub that I took away. I think putting was the biggest thing that I was that I struggled with, outside of just pure ball striking in general. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's one hole that like stands out, as like just kind of like a marquee hole. Like,
I really like that 17th hole. I probably is indicative of the shot that I hit in there, but it just, as soon as I stepped up on that tee, the par 3
yeah,
17th, that just, it fit my eyes so well. I knew I was going to hit a 9-iron draw back into that back pin, and was just hoping it would be the right number. And it absolutely was. Stuck it to about 7 feet, 8 feet with this pin. I'm telling you, was probably 12 feet off the back of the green, and just tucked back there. There's
oh yeah,
not very much room where I landed it. And I stuck it in there and made the birdie putt, and that was probably the highlight of the whole highlight hole for me on that course. It was
it
just
was
fit my eye as soon as I stepped out on the tee box.
it was the only birdie of the day as well.
Mm-hmm.
So only birdie out of the group, and yeah, it looked honestly like it was on an island, like the pin did. Like it was just like there's this cut out of the green, and then there's this large fall off on this bunker, and it goes out like this, and there's just this like little bit of daylight down there, and they just stuck the pin. Obviously you have a different perspective on it when you're looking at it from the tee versus when you get up to the green. You're like, oh, there was a little bit more room here than you would naturally think standing back there. But yeah, I mean, I thought all the holes presented good questions, good challenges, and really enjoyed it. Had a beautiful, beautiful scenery. I think it was, Zach may disagree, but I thought they were some of the most pure bunkers I've ever seen, ever played out of. Like it was immaculate. We don't have to touch base
Oh,
on
I was getting there. I was getting there. I was getting there.
Oh man, you had some of the best moments on this trip, that's for sure.
Okay, so I shot 86, right? That was the final score. And again, same thing. It felt like I shot significantly better than an 86. I think I hit like 10 of 14 fairways. I think I hit like 8 of 18 greens, which is pretty solid for me. Usually I'm around that 5 to 6 range, 33% or so. And I still shot 86, and I only had one 3-putt. And so ultimately what it goes back to is these fucking big ass numbers that I make on some of these holes. And unfortunately, one of the big numbers that I made was on number 9, and I laced my drive down there about 275 right in the middle of the fairway. I think I had like, I don't know, 240 out for my second shot. Didn't hit a very good 4-iron, but still left myself like 35, 40-yard little pitch shot on the left side of the pin, on the left side of the fairway, going right, but I had a bunker in between my shot and the green, and then another bunker on the back side of the green. So a tough little shot. I got to get it up, and I got to be pretty precise with my number. Unfortunately, I hit it too far and went into the back bunker. I then scolded, I think, into the front left bunker. I then scolded into the very front right bunker. And so I saw all 3 of the bunkers on the hole after being in really just like prime position after my second shot. Ended up making triple. Had my boy Trout running around to all of the bunkers and fixing them up for me. Actually, you fixed up one of them for me, so shout out to you on that one, and I'm sure Trout appreciated that. But yeah, I mean, it was a tough experience making triple on that after being in genuinely prime A position after that second shot. So just goes back to making too many big numbers, unfortunately. And if we can cut those out, we'll be scoring pretty well here in 2026, I think.
Yeah, yeah. My only thought on all of that was I just felt for my boy Trout. I'm like, this man's seen every bunker. I'm like, he's got to go rake all these. So I'm like, yeah, we got to keep up pace of play. So I did go rake one of them.
I
But
even said I'm
yeah,
sorry to him. He was like, it's all good. It's just golf.
yeah.
Like, I'm
I'm just
sorry,
like,
brother.
it was it I mean, obviously at the end of the day, it all worked out, and but it was just one of them ones you just kind of you feel for your playing partner. You just watch that, it just sucks. Nobody wants to go in multiple bunkers in a row, and I mean, honestly, that front part of the green was kind of tight, and yeah,
In the bunkers, I know that you mentioned that they were in good shape. I'm not disagreeing with that. They're just a different type of bunker that I've ever played, honestly. It was very, very hard sands at the bottom. Like it was like 1/2 inch of soft sand. Usually I'm used to like this much soft sand, but it was like this much soft sand and then just a very, very hard surface underwards or under.
Yeah.
And it usually I'm pretty good out of the bunkers, but those presented me a little bit of an issue for sure.
Yeah, it is. It is one of those things that definitely changes course to course and can present different challenges when you have thin, when you have ultra like rough, like kind of rocky type sand that's hard, and then you got like the super fluffy stuff. So I thoroughly enjoyed them, but that could just be because I hit it pretty well out of them. I don't know, you know. So I feel like I found at least like 4 or 5. And I felt like all of the shots were relatively respectable, considering that's been a tougher part of my game over the course of really ever since I got out of high school. In high school, I never used to think about bunkers like that, and I would just hit. I used to be able to hit like these little spinners that would come out, and now I'm just playing for the green, man. I'm just lucky to get it on and just keep it there. So I don't something I need to obviously really work on, but I do my best to just avoid them in general on golf courses. But yeah, well, I mean, that kind of wraps the trip, guys. I mean, that was our 4 days, and it was a great experience, and got to play 2 new courses. Got to go back to a couple of oldies but goodies, and you know, all in all was a great trip. And like I said, we got some great food, had some great company, and can't really ask for much more on a golf trip, I don't think.
You absolutely cannot. Already trying to plan the next one. I know we have already got a bunch planned, but
I think we got like 3 planned.
Yeah, I'm trying to slither into another one here in the wintertime.
Well, yeah, I hear you.
Stream song.
I know.
Here we
I know
go.
what you're alluding to over there. Oh man. Well, yeah. I think that's all I got from the golf trip.
All I got as well. It was enjoyable. It was great to see you. It's been a month since I seen you in the flesh. We were playing golf in Ohio last time I saw you, and then playing golf in Florida. Cannot complain at all.
That was actually crazy to like think about the fact that we actually got out and played golf in Ohio before I left.
I'm actually gonna put this on the record to see if this happens when we get posted, but it sounds like I'm gonna be playing a round of golf on December 26th here in Ohio. So let's just let's keep that on the docket and see if it fact checks once we get this posted.
Hey, we'll keep up with it. We'll definitely I'll definitely have to, you know, I might be in town. Maybe.
Ooh,
I heard
that is absolutely the day you're in town.
That is. So we'll maybe have to see what's up with that. But yeah, guys, well, that's it for us on the golf trip. Appreciate you guys tuning in, listening. For any of you guys that are really into golf, obviously we'd love to hear your feedback. Maybe you guys have played some of those courses. We'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Or if not, if you guys have ever been down to the area and we did not list a golf course that you guys have played that you really like, we'd love to hear some recommendations or anything, or just golf trips in general. We're always looking for new places to play. So any place that you guys have experienced that you really enjoyed, feel free to drop it in the comments and let us know. And we'll hopefully go check it out at some point.
Absolutely, guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will see you guys in the next one.